Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me or not because I've got a lot going on tonight and I'm trying to manage all this because I'm looking a little crazy. But welcome, everybody. I am excited tonight. We starting a little early. I think I'm starting about 10 minutes early, but I had to hurry up and get on because I'm excited. I'm ready to get things popping off. I'm excited about my guests. I'm excited about this month. Let me turn this down. So, as we know, this is Women's History Month. So, I decided, after much thought and prayer, that I would focus on, of course, women, but also women in ministry. Um, and my first guest came to mind when I was thinking about different people and, just praying on who to have on. Uh, Katrina came to mind. Um, and just a little background of how I met her. I met her through, um, I think, Facebook first, but then I actually came to meet her through going to her church as she attends, and I let her talk about her church and her pastor and everything. Um, and the first thing that came to mind when I heard her minister in song, and I'm going to be blunt because y'all know how I am, is, wow, she can sing. Now, I don't say that about everybody. Now, everybody go up there, grab the mic, and they can sing and everything, but they don't be. But anyways, I looked at Gabby and I was like, she can really sing. So from there, I just was very moved by her ministry. Really, sorry, y'all. I was very moved by her ministry. Lamar. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, I was very moved by her ministry. So she was the first person that came to mind, and I remember she had came on one of my lives. I think I was talking to Pastor Tim and Prophetess Robin Sherrod, and I was like, I just wanted you to come on because I believe, she's more than just a song. And I think a lot of people, when you see psalmists, that's all they're good for is just singing songs. But I believe that, she's more than just a song. She has a testimony. There's a background back there that I really wanted to highlight on tonight. And I really wanted her to come on and tell her testimony and just share with you guys a little bit about who she is, and how and where she's at right now in ministry. So I'm very excited to have her on tonight. I'm tuning in like you guys. I'm in expectation on what she's going to share with us on tonight. So I hope you all come with that same expectation. I hope you all come with that same, just taking some nuggets on what she would give us tonight. So I'm not going to prolong. I'm not going to blab on any longer. I'm just going to go ahead and bring her to the stage. Now, you all, I'm just, like I said, I got so many devices going on. I've got an iPad right here, got a laptop right here, got a monitor right here, mic right here, phone over here, light right here. It's just a lot going on. This is a whole new thing for me, a whole new setup. So if you see me over here, over there, looking all over the place, I'm just trying to get used to all this. So I'm going to bring her on.
Hello.
Y'all see? I like that. Oh, I'm so new to all this stuff, and it's so funny, and I'm so young, and I feel like I'm so old doing all this. Uh, But hello and welcome to the podcast on tonight, Minister Katrina.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm excited that you even accepted the invitation. I'm very excited. And now I'm not going to be on her long. Like I said, I'm really just going to give it over to her. So, I gave my little brief of meeting her and just really, I really want y'all to, when I say she's anointed to minister in song, I want to talk about that just for a little bit.
Okay.
Like I said, I was going to support my cousin actually to
Mhm.
minister at their church, Pastor Tim Davis. And I have, heard her on Facebook Live because they go live, I believe, every Saturday. Correct me if
Yes.
I'm wrong.
Hmm.
And then I heard her, but listening to somebody on Facebook and online is different than being in the presence of them singing. Um, and when she began to minister in song, I kid you not, I really did look at Gabby, and I wish she was in here to attest to this. I looked at her and I said, "Man, she could really sing. She's up there blowing. I mean, tearing it down." And some people grab the mic, and you don't really feel anything. And this is nothing against anybody else, but you really don't feel, the presence of God. You really
Hmm.
don't feel the anointing of it. But I'm telling you. Um, I felt something, I felt the presence of God, the anointing of God, um, and Gabby did as well. My mom was on, "Hey, mom," uh, it really just moved me. And I look forward to when I'm able to get on. I look forward to the word as well, but to just hear her minister in song. I mean, if you ever have the chance, you all, and like I said, I'm going to have her talk a little bit about her, ministries that she's under. But if you ever have a chance to listen to her minister in song on Facebook Live, please tune in and just bask in that, just sit in that. But I'm not going to be on here. I'm going to turn it over to Minister Katrina. I'm going to let her introduce herself. I'm going to let her talk about the leadership that she's under, or however she chooses to do it. But without further ado, everybody, Minister Katrina.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, I always want to honor God, who is truly the head of my life. Second, I do want to honor my pastor, Bishop Fred Eugene Jones Jr. I attend Greater Rehoboth Empowerment Temple in Chesapeake, West Virginia. I'm a Kentucky girl, but yes, I go to church in West Virginia. I also want to honor Prophet Malik for this opportunity. I was so excited to get asked, so I'm happy to be here. Um, a little bit about me. If you know anything about me, I am such a background person. I love to be in the back, running the cameras, running around, making sure everything's straight for service. You don't even have to know my name, and I'm okay with it. That's just how I am. I fully support my pastor. Anybody that I'm working with, I fully support you. If I tell you I'm going to be there, you can clock it that I'm going to be there. That's just how I was raised. My father was a pastor for over 50 years. His name was Bishop Elsie Thomas. He was a pastor in the PAW. When he passed away, he was a suffragan bishop. So I know what leadership and all the things you go through. My parents had 8 children. Their first son was stillborn, and then they had 7 girls. So I am the seventh of 7 girls, and we all start with K's. So it was like an alphabet game in my family. So I was a pew baby. So I have been in church my entire life. We took spring breaks to go to conventions. There was no beach. There was no, we're going to take the sun. No, we were in church. We were cleaning. If there was just us, then we still had a full service. And we had it at the church. He did not let us stay home. That's just how we grew up. So I grew up in a musical family. All of my sisters sing. My father sang and played. So wherever he went, he would play and say, "My girls are going to sing." So we became the choir. So we learned parts. We learned how to transfer with each other, um, and just make sure the harmonies were right. So music is something that I have always grown up with. As my father got older, since I was the youngest, I drive him. as he got older. And that was probably my favorite time with my fathers. We got real conversations. So that's where I learned not only God, but I learned him practically to me. I could say real things because I wasn't allowed to speak for a long time. I was the pastor's daughter. So even if you made me mad, I had to be polite because what I said not only represented God, but it represented my father. So my mother would always be like, oh, don't say that. Oh, don't do that. Let's not be that way. So we were very muted as children. And that can be good or bad, but we were very muted as children. So a lot of things people said, I would tuck it and just hold it in because I wasn't allowed to say anything back. So that's what I knew growing up. A lot of kids were mad at me because I never got to go to any dances, any of that. I was the girl that was always in the skirt and the tennis shoes. So they would ask their parents, can we go to prom? If the pastor lets Trina go, then you can go. Of course, I couldn't go, so then I became an issue. So I didn't have a lot of places I fit in. So music was my escape. Now, out of my sisters, we all think my sister Kim, that a lot of people know, is the actual singer. So it amazes me when people are like, oh, you can sing. Really? Have you heard my sister? So I don't do real well at compliments. I'm working on that. But music was how I escaped. It was how I found my space. So I am learning. I am new in ministry. I haven't had my license long. I ran from that word for many years. Okay, gotta see where we're going. I ran from that word for many years. Many people, my father told us when we were little, he had prayed over all 7 of us and we each had our own ministry. I was like, that's nice, Dad, but nah, I'm just going to sing in the choir or the praise team and go home. I don't want all that extra stuff I've watched you do. So I ran for years because that's just not what I wanted. So God let me run for a while. He let me hit my head a couple times. And then I would say within the past year of being at Greater Rehoboth, God has allowed me to grow more probably in this past year than I had in the 5 before that. I walked into a place of freedom because when you sing, let me put this out there for singers. When you sing and you go somewhere, everybody has a certain thing they want you to sing. So they don't just say, Katrina, can you sing us a song? It's Katrina, can you sing I Won't Complain? I might have just been complaining in the car. So that might not be the best time for me to sing this song. But that's how people are. When you sing, like when you play, they just ask you to play. But when you sing, everybody has something specific that they want you to do. So sometimes that would aggravate me because that might not be what I felt. But I would try to honor whoever asked me. So as I've been through a lot. So there's a lot of different phases to my life. But the main one I feel like I need to talk about is I ran. God would be calling me. People would come up, prophets would come up and give me a word. I'd be like, yeah, that's nice. That's not for me. The next prophet would come up and give me a word. I'd be like, no. Then I got to a point I was burnt out because when you're gifted, which is one of the groups of people I feel like God is calling me to, when you're gifted, people care more about your gift than they care about you. As sad as that is to say. In church, people care more about your gift. So what they would do is they only knew my phone number when they needed me to do something. Oh, we got this service. Nobody can show up. Hey, Trina, we need you here tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I do have a full-time job, so I kind of need to know ahead of time. Oh, you can't do that? No. Okay, well then here, you can do this other one. It was never, how are you? Are you okay? Are you tired? Like nobody cared about that. It was just, can you sing? Can you be here? So I would bend over backwards helping everybody else. But then when it came my turn, guess what? Nobody answered. Nobody could be there. Nobody understood. Can't help you. Okay. But the services I would get called to, oh, by the way, we don't have a musician. We don't know how many people are coming. This was last minute, but go ahead, you got it. So I learned how to sing a cappella because I never know who was coming or who wasn't. So either way, I'm be fine. And then I got burnt out and I was ready to quit. And I tried to quit every week. Every week I would go to my music director. I think I need to sit down. I'd always get told, you can't do that. We don't have people. That's not my fault. But so burnt out. And I was in a room full of people that had the power. Like they always like tell you, need to get to church where the power. I was in a room full of people with power and nobody saw how tired I was.
Mm.
So we had a revival. This lady brought in outside speakers, and the very first night, the man said, y'all want to know how this service is going to change? He was like, this girl here. He's like, she's exhausted. All y'all around her, and none of y'all are praying for her.
Wow.
And everybody in there was like, what? He's like, she smiles, but her smile hides a lot. She knows church. She grew up in church. So she's saying everything she's supposed to say. And she's going home and crying. I was like, I haven't said a word to you. He said, yeah, God's been talking to me. He said, I didn't know who you were, but he said I would know you when I saw you. And every minister at that revival from outside of my home church at that time gave me all the strength I needed because I was so depleted. So I've known my pastor. We've been friends for almost 20 years. We had known each other a long time. So then when we got back in touch, he was like, just come. I'm not asking you to do anything. Just come, sit down, see how you feel. And as soon as I walked in the building, I felt fresh air. I felt like I could breathe. I didn't feel like people had stipends or handcuffs on me. They were just going to let me go. He's like, just sit and relax and listen to God. See what God tells you. I was like, okay. Well, in the process of that, I was still at my first place. And that's the place I had grown up. So I knew for probably almost a year that I needed to go. But I was fighting myself because that's my home. Right. That was where my dad had done it. Like it was, I kept tying it to that, even though it wasn't his anymore. And I was like, God, I really don't want to be here, but I don't know what to do. Well, in the meantime, me and the pastor at that time ended up having a conversation. He's like, maybe you should go. And I wanted to write the whole thing. And Holy Ghost was like, erase it. And I was like, you're right. Yes, sir. And that was it. So I thank God for all the drama that came in because it had to push me to what he had already told me to do. So where I am now, I have complete freedom. God talks to me differently. So you'll see I'm singing or I'm talking and I'll pause. Most times you'll see me kind of like shake my head because I can hear God. I'm like, you don't want me to do that. And so I'm learning to try to quit fighting as much, but I fight. Because I'm like, that's not the song I said I was going to sing. And God might change it mid-service. My pastor will tell you, I'm quick to be like, I know we rehearsed this. That's not the way I'm going. God just shifted it and we're going here. Yeah. But he allows me that grace to go. So I would say now looking back, because this past year has been really eye-opening for me. After my father passed, I took care of my mother for almost 6 years. So when you came to the service that night, what you didn't know is I had been taking care of her for 6 years and my sister was talking about taking her. So when you prayed for me, you said, God is about to give you time and space that you haven't had. You didn't know me and my sister were in talk so that I could get my load lightened to be able to do stuff. So I was like, oh, that was confirmation. Okay, wow. God. So I had her for 6 years. 2 of my sisters had moved out of state to Indiana, but they had less hours because I was gone over 10 hours a day. And my mother, thank God, is 91. God has kept her, but she needed a lot of full time that I couldn't do because I would be at work. Then I tried to rush home, make sure she ate, make sure she got her medicine, make sure she did all this, plus take care of my children, make sure I eat, make sure I go to bed. So it was constant. So I couldn't really do a lot. People would invite me places I couldn't really go because I need to make sure she was good. So now that she has been there, God has opened up doors and kind of given me space. So I really feel like God has allowed me to be, a lot of people underestimate me, which I used to aggravate me, but now I'm starting to think it's my superpower. Because when they do that, they kind of talk to me like I'm dumb. So I just kind of laugh, let it be, and I move on. Like, okay, got it. You showed who you are. Let's keep going. But in that time, because I didn't have like a whole lot of people blowing up my phone, I never really had the girlfriend circle. I had people that called me sis, but they're the same people that spilt my tea everywhere. So I never really had that circle. And I
Yeah,
think because of that and all the pain and all the cuts and all the things I've gone through, that's why I worship the way that I do now. I think that's what got me to that vulnerable point where you've already hurt me. So I'm going to give it to God and let Him do what He does. So I think that is why I'm where I am now.
yeah,
But there's times when I hear God loudly, and I know there's more than music in me. And it's always been said, no, there's word. Um, and Pastor Tim even said it. He's like, there's going to come a time, and yours are the words we're going to need. He's like, God's just holding. Because I felt like I missed my window because where I was before, I would ask questions. Okay, I'm starting to see things. Like I'm seeing visions. I'm seeing, oh no, 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 you need to go back, pray about it. I know who the person is that sees in this church. It's not you. It's not you. So many people had said things for so many years, and I just tucked to them. Took a long time to let that go. When
yeah,
I would get into a thing or I would hear God, I'd be like, oh, you don't hear God. That's not what you do. Like, that's what they told you. That's not what you do. Oh, you're not that person. Oh, you're not that great. I didn't even want to sing for a couple months because I was like, you know who's here? Like, they are so much better than me. Why are y'all calling on me? Like, I'd let every word everybody had said get to me. So then I pulled back. Okay, let me shrink. If I shrink, it'll make everybody else comfortable. Everybody else will be happy. I can just deal with it when I get home. So I shrank for a long time. And I promised God in 26 it would be the year of Trina, and not a conceited this the year of Trina, but would be the year that if He says go, I'm going. If He tells me to speak, I'm talking. Because I held in so much for so long till now it's like, okay, now it's time to let it loose.
yeah,
So I think that is the place I'm at now. I am new in ministry. I am growing. I am taking advice from people. God sent a great circle of people. He sent you. He sent Prophetess Sherrard, who I love, that just pours into me constantly.
yeah,
Pastor Tim, of course, my pastor. But there are certain special people that he's just kind of placed around. And out of the blue, I'll have one day I hadn't even asked the question yet. I was just like, God, I don't understand. And then you sent me a message and was like, God, I was like, God, I don't even get up. I was like, I like how you don't play about me. I didn't even get up and you already answered.
oh boy,
So yeah, I think that's where I am now. Like I'm just learning and
yeah,
really vibing out, feeling people that God's placed around me because everybody's kind of had a special purpose for where God has placed them in my life.
amen. Woo, you didn't say a lot, girl. But now I usually, and it's just strange that I usually don't take notes. I want everybody to see this. I've been, you probably can't see my paper, but I've been taking notes actually, because a couple of things that you said, I just wanted to touch bases on and kind of go a little bit deeper in that.
Okay.
So I want to start with being a pastor's daughter. Um, so a lot of times we have that stereotype of a pastor's daughter being this, being that. And I don't want to say a pastor's daughter, let's say a pastor's kid. They have the label of, the
First kid.
rebellious person, or, I'm just going to be real and raw tonight. The pastor's kid is out here doing this, and y'all can read between the lines, is out here doing that, so I want to know, from your standpoint, because you also said being a pastor's kid, you couldn't do a lot as well. So growing up, how did that make you feel, knowing that you kind of had to be restricted? You had to be, kind of set aside and, couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And I'm sure it came with, I could be wrong, but it came with a little bit of frustration because, you're seeing these kids getting to go to the movies, let's say go to the movies or go to this dance or, so how did that affect where you are right now? Did that make you become more disciplined in ministry because of what you were being taught as a kid, or did that make, or was there a time before you even really, after you left the home, let's say after you left the home, was there a moment of, oh, I get to do what I want to do now because
Mhm.
I ain't got to, I don't have to listen to daddy. I ain't got to, So
Yeah.
let's talk about that moment, out of the home into then going back into the church. How did that look for you?
When I went to college, I went to the University of Louisville. So I was like, I am 3 hours from where I live. This
Yeah.
is my time. Nobody knows who my dad is. I was like, I'm not going. And my dad also had a full time job. So he also worked at a steel plant. So when people would ask me there, what does your dad do? Oh, he works at a steel factory. That's all I would ever say. I would never
Yeah.
say pastor. I was like, no, this is, I get to reinvent me. So no, he
Right,
works
right.
at a steel
Absolutely.
plant. And they're like, oh, okay. That's like, because there's another Katrina who was a friend. Like, I had known her. We had grown up together. They was like, her dad's a pastor. Oh, yeah, I know her. But I would never say mine was. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is going to be my time. I'm going to go out. I'm going to do all the things I couldn't do at home. My very first day walking across campus, I was going to class, and this lady stopped me and was like, is your dad Bishop Thomas? I said, no.
Yeah.
And she was like, aren't you from Ashland, Kentucky? Are you kidding me? I said, I drove there. I was like, God, really? I went 3 hours
Yeah.
to get away from it. First day, somebody knew exactly who I was. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. But it wasn't a lot. So I would only tell that he worked at the steel plant. I tried, I was never comfortable. I actually went out one night because in our dorm, you had to have a night with your RA. She
Hmm.
always took everybody out. We were actually out at the club. I was standing near the wall, and a guy actually walked over, and he was like, "You're not supposed to be here." And I said, "Huh?" And he was like, "Listen, my grandma's in church." He's like church. He said, "I know the look that's on you. This is not where you're supposed to be." I was
Yeah.
like, "I'm just hanging out." He was like, "Yeah, but you see how you're on the wall, like totally okay." He's like, "This is not where you're supposed to be." He was like, my grandma would be so mad. He was like, you got to safe ride home. Like, he wanted to make sure I got home, everything. He was like, this is not you. I
Yeah.
was like, really, God? So I was just never, I tried, but God would never let me be comfortable.
Yeah.
And then we had a black gospel choir there that I joined so I could feel like I had something because I was missing. There was a couple churches there I went to, but I really hadn't found anything that I felt like, oh, this is home. So the black gospel choir kind of became my new home. But then as we kept going, they was like, nah, Trey, I think you need to do more. And then they started pushing me out there. Okay, I think you should open up our concert or you should do this. And then, a guy would come in, we get to go. They was like, oh, we didn't know you could do that. But okay, now we know. So then it became, so I
Yeah.
did try to rebel. I did try to do, but God just never let me. I will say you should protect your kids to a point, but then there's a point they also need to know because I was very naive. I trusted everybody
Hmm.
because I was always taught to trust people.
Right.
So people would take advantage of it. Oh, you got 20 here, Trina. I'm gonna give it back to you. I never get it, but I just thought, oh, okay, because that's just how I was taught. So
Right.
yeah, so I went from the country to the city, and then I kind of had to learn because I had always been sheltered.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a big change.
So, so I also want to touch on music being your outlet. You said that, and I'll say this again for those that are just coming on and tuning on. This lady can really sing down. Like I'm not kidding. Like she can really sing. I'm not just saying that. And if you know me, I really don't lie. So if I'm saying somebody can sing, they can really sing. But music being your outlet. Let's just talk a little bit about your ministry of music, and how you knew, because a lot of people can tell you, oh, you can sing, this, that, and the third, but when did you really know, and not being cocky or anything or prideful, but when did you know that, oh, well, maybe I am anointed to do this? When was the time that light bulb went off in your head, like, wow, maybe God has gifted me, the gift of singing?
My dad was a stickler for time. So that's where I get that from. Like I was always taught, like if something started at 7, I better be there by like 6:45. That's just like how he was. Because at 7 o'clock on dot, Sunday night service better start. He don't care if there's 2 people, somebody better be up there, and we better be going. So our normal praise and worship leader was late. And so it was like 6:59. I was like, he is not coming up these stairs and yelling at me because I'm sitting. So I just jumped up. I was like, we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
And so then the service kind of moved. I was like, oh wow, like they're getting with me. Like I was kind of in shock the whole way through. So I think my mom still has like an old VHS tape or something. But you'll see my eyes because I'm like, wait, they're getting with me. Like I was just in shock because I was just gonna stand up there. And then when the person came in, I tried to give it back. They was like, oh no, you got this. And so they just let me go. So that's probably the first time that I felt like, okay, maybe I have something here. And then my sister Kim that actually sings, she was like, listen, I'm a singer, but you're a good praise and worship leader. She was like, you feel the service, you feel how it's shifting. She's like, that is not my calling. She's like, when I'll go places, they'll ask me, and I'm like, no, you need my sister. Like this ain't what I do. So it took kind of like some friends to stand with me, like Trina. Cause I'd be like, oh, and I don't like to hear myself on tape. Like when I listen back, I'm like, oh. So my pastor would be like, you did great. Tonight was horrible. He was like, stop it. Like it was great. And I'm like, So today it's still like, I still get kind of shocked when people are like, oh, we want her, or they'll call me. I'm like, you sure? Like I still, to me, because to me, it's just what I like to do. I don't always think like I'm in love with Miranda Curtis and Antoine Cooks. Like those are the kind of people. Victor, like there's certain praise and worship leaders I always listen to because I'm like, oh God, they're gonna do it. Like, and then I'm like, okay, how do I incorporate some of that? But yeah, that's probably the first time I kind of saw the light come on.
You know, it's funny that you said Antoine Cooks because I've actually here recently been kind of getting used to his music. Well, not used to, but getting introduced to his music because I was I don't know what I was doing. I think there was a certain clip that went viral and he was singing oh gosh, what was it? It was recent, maybe like last month, but it was an R&B song, I believe. Oh, you know, you make me want to shout. And I was playing it all week because it's just something certain people, you know, they just have a way to incorporate things but still make it sound powerful and for the glory of God, but not make you feel like, you know, you need to drop it like it's hot at the same time. You know, so he knows how to do that. A lot of people don't because, you know, they'll start singing these worldly songs and try to mix it with gospel, but then I still feel like I'm in the club. You know, so he has a way of doing that. So it's interesting that that's one of your people that you listen to as well. So 7 girls.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
I'm too many hormones.
I have a lot of siblings. I'm the oldest of, I believe, because my dad has kids as well with, you know, another lady. But I think of 6, I'm the oldest. And siblings can get on your nerves. They know how to push your buttons.
Yes.
You know, but me being the oldest, I don't know if you're the oldest.
I'm the youngest.
Oh, you're the youngest.
So they thought I was spoiled.
Yeah, my sister, she's the youngest and she is spoiled no matter what my mom says. I don't know if she's still on or not, but she, you know, she can do no wrong in my mom's eyes at all. You know, she could probably, well, there's a story, but I'm not going to share it here. But anyways, so my sister did something and my mom had told me, and I'm just going to say it. So my sister was at school and on her tablet, she looked up, and my mom is not a bad mom, but I guess my sister was just annoyed with my mom. But she looked up how to kill mom, and I was like, "What?" I said, "She did what?" And then my mom is just like so like nonchalant about it, like it's just you know, she's just going through something. Like if it was me, I probably would got beat. But anyway, you know, the youngest child, It's something about their youngest child. So how was that growing up with, you got all these sisters, and I only have two sisters, so I can only imagine you have six sisters. How was that for you dealing with all those older sisters?
Mom was never gone. Like when her dad went somewhere, she was still there because they always thought they had to mom me. But the problem was my mom found out she was having me at 42. So she
Okay.
tells everybody I was a surprise. So my oldest sister was 20 years older than me.
Oh,
And the
wow.
sister right before me was 10 years older than me. So the sister right before me was showing me pictures of all them and then pictures of me by myself. So she
Yeah.
was like, your parents dumped you one day and you were at this little dumpster by yourself. And mom and dad felt bad and picked you up. So I cried on like my 5th birthday because I thought my parents had just, and my mom was like, I had 6 kids. Why would I just go pick a stranger kid up? She was like, that's so stupid. But
Yeah.
that's how we work. So me and the sister right before me, they called us Tom and Jerry because we would fight every day. Because she was like, I was a baby for 10 years. Then they had to go find you. Go back. Like she wanted me to go back. So mom was always there. So they would come to my thing. And my oldest sister was a grade school teacher. So when I was in grade school, they tried to put me in her class. I was like, absolutely not. Like I see her enough. I don't want to see her in
Right.
school. But she would watch everything. If she couldn't read my homework, she made me. I said, you are not my teacher. It doesn't matter. I'm a teacher. So I hated it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were all, to this day, they still try certain stuff. They're like, well, we said, whoa, hold on. I'm grown now. Like, y'all
Right.
can't do this anymore. So sometimes they forget or they'll try to tell me what to do with my kids. They need, whoa. I'm their mama. I signed that. So yeah, so they
Yeah.
still try to mother me. We've gotten closer as we've gotten older. The first 5 are like a year apart, so they're super close. And
Yeah.
then that's when kind of like the gaps come in. So me and my last sister are probably the closest just because it was a lot of times us still at the house and everybody else was gone.
Yeah.
But they were in, when I started school, my older sisters were in college. So when they took me kindergarten, I was like, I've already been to college. I was like, why am I coming back to kindergarten? Well, the teacher laughed so hard. She was like, you're not in college, your sister, but I'm there every week. I feel like I've been there. So
Yeah.
yeah. So and then my birthday is July 3rd, but we would always celebrate on the 4th because that's when my sisters could get off work. So in school, they were like, what's July 4th? My birthday. And she was like, no, yes, it is. I was like, all my family comes in, the whole town shuts down, we do fireworks. She was like, oh my goodness. She's like, Trina, you might want to go talk to your mom. For what? This is what it's for. But we are close. Like we aggravate each other, but then like we'll have a fight, we don't talk, and then we're back talking like within hours. And it was too many hormones. So I would always go to my best friend's house because she had all brothers.
Yeah.
So then they beat me up. We'd rest. I thought it was the greatest. She was like, what is wrong with that? I said, I have all girls at my house. This is fun.
Right.
But yeah, playing baseball, football, that was fun to me because it was all girls at my house.
I can only imagine.
And then when they were all younger, we only had one bathroom. So my dad would get up at 5 to beat everybody to the bathroom because he had a house full of women. So I used to feel bad for my dad.
And I know how that goes because my mom, my sisters spend hours, it feels like, in the bathroom. Like, what are you doing in there? And kudos to you for surviving with all those sisters, because I have two, and let me tell you, they're rough. They're rough. I'm telling you. So also, you're saying, you said there was a time when you were burnt out from singing, actually. Or I might have heard you wrong. I don't know if you said singing or just ministry altogether. In that time, what was the thought process? You also said, people were using you in ministry and ignoring you at the same time. That happens a lot in ministry, where a lot of people, they're just being used for their gift, but being ignored as the person, as, physical being and spiritual being. They're just using and using and using, but not, like you said, checking on me. Are you all right? How do you feel? All they care is, how's your gift feeling today? How's your voice sounding today? So in that aspect of your life, in that time period, how did you navigate with not just that, but also keeping your relationship with God?
It was rough. I think when people are gifted, I think sometimes we put so much weight on them. Oh, she can do this. Oh, she can do that. So I wore so many hats, but nobody ever stopped to see maybe she's tired. So I would sing on the praise team, direct the choir, teach the praise team parts at rehearsal. Then they made it mandatory that we be at prayer. So then I'm at prayer on Monday nights. Of course, had to be a Bible study to start service on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And we got praise team and choir and all that on Saturday. Then I'm right back at church Sunday. God, when have I spent time with my kids? I'm missing their ball games. When
Right.
have I had time to take a nap? Like my body
Yeah.
is exhausted.
Yeah.
And then if they travel, of course I'm supposed to be present. I'm supposed to be making sure I travel with them. So then I'm not getting home till after midnight. Then I'm trying to put my kids to bed, make sure they're up for school, make sure I get to work, take care of my mom. Like when am I like my body was just like, okay, listen, you gotta slow down.
Right.
So I think that's why I got COVID the first time, just because God was like, this is the only way I'm gonna get you to like take a couple of days off. So
Yeah.
it was like a slowdown. So I would be very aggravated. Luckily, since I had so many sisters, my closest friends are guys. And I have a best friend that I've had for almost 25 years. But he's very avid church. He knows too. He's a pew baby. Like we kind of have the same upbringing. So he was like, listen, you're not mad at God. He was like, you're just upset with the way things are lining out. So before you
Yeah.
get that attitude, let's stop. Let's pray. So he was always a sounding board that I could go to. It was going to stay there. I didn't have to worry about it leaking out to anybody. And he was going to pray, correct me if I need to correct it. But he was always going to give me a scripture or something to study to go back to. And I think that's where, for me, religion became relationship. As
Yeah.
so many of us have religion. Oh, I
Yeah.
go to church on Sunday. Oh, I go to Bible class on Wednesday. Oh, I do this. Oh, I do that. Okay, that's nice, but you're doing it out of habit. You're not doing it because you really want to be there. It's just Sunday. Let me get dressed. Let me go to church. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So for me, that's where it really started switching to, okay, God, I'm going to quit saying I have to do this. I'm going to say I get to do this. Out
Right.
of all the people you could have picked, you're allowing me to do this. And that's where it started changing and my sound started changing.
Mm.
I noticed some things I was just singing because I knew that I could sing He's an On Time God in my sleep because everybody had requested that song for like a year. But then it became He's on Time for me because then it
Yeah.
became personal. So
Sure.
I never sing. I think a reason people always ask me why my sound is different. One, I grew up with older parents, so I love hymns. I love a lot of the history of the church. But two, I never sing anything outside I can't relate to. I look at all
Mm.
the words of the song.
Yeah.
I find the part that ministers to me, and I allow it to minister to me for a week, 2 weeks, sometimes a month before I ever actually perform it because I want to say perform, minister it because I never want to perform. I want it to minister, but it has to minister to me first. I can't sing something I don't know about. So there are certain songs people ask me, I'm like, I can't sing this because I don't relate to this.
Right.
So I think that's where it changed for me.
Amen. And you can tell. I didn't know you before, but I'm telling you, I might just keep saying it through this whole interview. But this lady can sing, y'all. I'm not, and I'm not just saying that. I'm telling you, there's really an anointing. There's really an anointing on it. Um, so new ministry after you left your previous ministry. You said the new ministry, and you felt refreshed, like you could breathe. Walk us into that process of transitioning from one ministry to where you're at now and feeling like God gave you a second wind. Expound on that.
Um, I think I think looking back now that's been a little over a year. Um, I think that sometimes we have traditions. Well, not really traditions. things are sentimental. So
Yeah.
churches become sentimental to us, because again, my dad had pastored there for over 50 years. So that's the place I had known. That's the place everybody knew where I was. So people like, oh, you want to see Trina? Go to so and so. Like everybody knew the address. And
Yeah.
then when people started to tune in on Sundays, they're like, whoa, wait a minute. Then I started getting messages. I ain't seen you for the last 3 Sundays because I never went public. I never did a whole let's blast out. I never did none of that. And then a whole bunch of drama started happening. People were saying certain things. And at first I was upset. But again, when I went to my pastor now, he was like, we're going to stand our ground. We're going to trust God. I was like, okay. And unfortunately, he got some attacks for being associated with me.
Yeah.
But he stood strong and he was like, you're always welcome here. And I was like, okay. So at first it was just freeing. I even took my daughter and she could feel it. She's like, Mom, there's the difference in this atmosphere. She's
Mm-hmm.
like, I feel free here. And I was like, okay, that was my confirmation. So then I was like, I think I'm ready. I was like, let's do this. And he was like, okay. And he was great. He allowed me to sit for about 3 weeks and just really soak. And then he was like, all right, it's time to get up. And I was
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? Like you said you he said, if I allow you to sit in this is gonna be your excuse for a long time. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I need to sit because trust me, if there was a poster child for church hurt, you are looking at her. I'm the poster, the billboard, the trailer, like I am it.
Yeah.
Trust me, you can recover. Um, so then he was like, it's time to get up. I need you to start service this Saturday. I was like, that's funny. He was like, I'm not laughing. I was like, oh, you're for real. Okay.
Yeah.
So all week I was stressing. I haven't sang in a couple months. Like, is it going to come out? Like, what's going to happen? But as soon as he started playing behind me, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, this feels how it used to feel because it hadn't
Mm-hmm.
felt like fun in a long time. It just felt like work. And I was
Yeah.
like, wait, this feels fun again. Like, I'm enjoying, oh, okay, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. So he never bombarded me. Like, most people would just give me a lecture. God didn't give you these talents just to sit on them. Da, 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 da. He was like, be healed, then let's go to work.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's it. It's like, that's it. You do your part. Let God do the rest of it. And I was like, okay. So he never bombarded me like everybody else.
Yeah.
He gave me freedom. He's like, you hear from God well. First, I need you to cancel every word curse that you've allowed to be stuck in your head, that you're not good enough, that you're not this, that you're not. Once you cancel that, we can go from there. And I was like, okay. So then once I got in that atmosphere, and then he really began to, like, we did consecration at the beginning of January. Now we're in Lent. And with him in Lent, it's not giving, oh, let me give up Pepsi for 40. That's not it.
Mm-hmm.
Trina, what do you really need to give up in God to take you to the next level? I need to quit doubting myself. Okay, then that's what you're gonna give up for Lent. When God says do it, you're gonna do it the first time. So he pushes me deeper, and as I go deeper, then my worship changes.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
hear the sound change. So I really think once I walked into the atmosphere, God was really able to work on me because I had the freedom to just hear him and tune
Right.
everything else out.
Right.
That was needed.
So church hurt.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely going to talk about that. Um, so I am also in, well, have been in the church hurt gang. um, and in that, I'll just talk about my experience. I'm not going to say a church or anything like that, but just the feeling of, and my experience, yours could be different, of feeling alone, feeling betrayed, feeling angry, sad, a lot of emotions. A lot of people be like, "Oh, you can get over it." But when you, I'll say, commit yourself to a ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and you have these high expectations of a ministry, and then they let you down. Um, it develops not even just a hurt towards the church, but you have a hurt towards God as well. And this is just me. I rebelled. I did a lot in my time when I was not in church. a lot of things that was not me, a lot of things that I just did because I was mad out of anger, just like drinking and just stuff out of my norm, because I was angry at God and I was focusing my anger in the wrong spot. Um, at the point, there's a point you have to realize that it wasn't God, but it was the people, and it wasn't the church. It wasn't God that hurt you. It was you were just mishandled by people. But once you really pray and seek God's face, that's when the healing begins, because you really have that conversation to God, and you start to realize, well, it wasn't you, because I can still pray to you, I can still seek your face, I can still have a conversation with you, and you're still there. um but the ultimate thing when you know you're healed is when you can forgive. So I went through all those emotions, but then after forgiving, um and I'm not talking about anything current, because people like to be messy, and then they're like,
Oh
"Oh,
yeah.
he talking about some stuff." No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about past stuff. I'm not currently at a church. I'm not, but that's not why. That's not what happened. There's no church hurt that's happened recently, so I want to go ahead and clear that up, because I know how people do. But
Yeah.
just in the past, just experience those things. And I know a lot of people, they don't recover, and it's very, it's sad, because being having a relationship with God is really what gets me through day by day. That
Mhm.
day by day, because people will take me to the edge.
Yeah.
Being at the job that I work at, being in leadership at my job, and just different things in life. But having that relationship with God restored, it has done tremendous things for me. It has given me peace of mind in the storm. It has given me peace. So I want you, if you can, if somebody's watching now or later, what would you say to them if they're currently in the situation of church hurt? What would you say to them?
First of all, it's okay to feel your emotions, because
Yes,
everybody tries to tell you it's not okay to feel. Yes, it is. It's
yes,
okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel anger. It's whatever you feel. It is acceptable, because nobody, just like grief, nobody can tell you how long to grieve. Nobody can tell you how long to heal.
yes.
So you have every right to feel your emotions. After you feel them, sit down and really have a talk with yourself. Look
Mhm.
yourself in the mirror and really say, who am I to me? Not who are you to anybody else. Put all those titles down. Who is Katrina?
Yeah.
Because I was never one that wanted a title. I never wanted, I always thought them collars look uncomfortable. Like I never wanted none of that. So that's why I was like, oh, you want me? Nah, I'm not a minister. So it's okay to feel that. Then once you feel that, find a place that feels acceptable to you.
Yes.
Because God's not looking for perfect people. If he was, none of us would be here.
Right,
That's
right.
not what he's looking for. And we've got this, oh, I have to put on this image and take all the mask off. Find out who you are. Find accountability partners.
Yeah.
Somebody that's going to say, now, Katrina, you know better. Get your butt up. Let's go. Like my friends will come looking for me if they haven't heard from me, and like, we ain't heard from her in a week. Something ain't right. And then my phone starts blowing up. Answer right now. Quit ignoring us. Like
Yeah.
they wouldn't let me sit in that. You need people that are going to surround you, that are going to pray for you and walk you through it without judging you. You need a judgment free zone that
Absolutely.
you can just be in, and then take however long it needs to take you to get there, because we all have to have clean hands and a pure heart.
Hmm.
And so I can't judge you. I've been there. If you need me, reach out to me. I will talk to you. I don't care what time it is. I will talk to you. I will pray for you, because I know that hurt. Um, it's that people always want to brush it off. Like I said, my mom's 91. She's like, oh, everybody's using that as an excuse. It's different from your time to what it is now.
Right, right.
And then now everybody's so quick to put up a video of you acting out or doing something. I don't know why we like to see people fall, but that's what we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need an accountability partner. You need to ask God for, and forgiveness is not easy. Like my last hurt happened a little over a year ago. I
Yeah.
said for months, "Oh, I forgave him," but I never really didn't. It was just word service. And then
Right.
finally,
Right.
another prophet came to me and was like, um, "You're not gonna get your happiness or your joy back till you fully. We don't. God don't want. He done heard the words a million times. It's gotta fully be released from you." And I
Yes.
was like, "Oh, okay." So actually, it was about 2 weeks ago because we had to reschedule our consecration service. And I finally, everybody left. I was kind of at the church by myself for a few minutes, and I got down on the altar. I was like, "All right, God." For months, I have said it from my lips. I said, but I still kept saying that person and that he's not connected to me. No, I want all that to go. Like, I want to be able to see him and laugh, not feel any kind of pressure or upset. Because I turned down engagements because I would know this person was going to be there. And I was like, oh no, I can't sing there.
Mm.
I was like, God, I need all this to go. And I finally got it. And then I felt the shift. As soon as
Yeah.
I got up, I was like, oh, something just shifted. Okay. And then that's when I felt like the shift take off for me because I finally, it wasn't just words. It was coming from the depths of my heart that I forgive. And so now, you want to believe it? Sure. You want to add to it? Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't, God saw it, so I don't need to tell my side. We don't always have to answer. I think one of the main things I've learned this year is sometimes just shutting up is keeping you saved. Cause listen, I'm a Peter. I'm gonna cut your ear. We can talk about it later. That's my personality. But now God is like making me shut up. So sometimes when people say so, I just laugh. And they're
Yeah.
like, Trey, you're being really quiet. It's really better that I just be quiet.
Yeah.
Like, let
Yeah.
me just stay saved over here. So sometimes shutting up is what you gotta do, and it's okay.
I can attest to that because I'll get right with you. It don't take me nothing but 2 seconds. If you come at me sideways, well, let me say I used to be like that because
Yeah.
I'm working on that as well because I feel like I used to be like that because of what I've been through.
Mhm.
People just treat me kind of way. And then I had a moment in time where I'm like, oh no, I ain't gonna have that no more because I'm gonna speak up, open up my mouth, and I'm gonna let you know what time it is. But
Yes.
but now, I feel like that I'm taking on more of that. Just be quiet, be still, um, and pay attention. Before you speak. Um, because a lot of times we just like to speak and we don't even know the whole story. We just so and so said this. Oh, okay, let me go over here. And sometimes you just gotta be quiet and be still. Like you said, stop giving us so much lip service. Sometimes you got to shut your mouth. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, shut up. Because your mouth will get you in trouble. And you could be going off on the wrong person or just stuff like that. So I believe that's the season that I'm in as well. I'll use my job for an example. I use my job for everything because I really don't do much but go to work and go home. But when stuff is going on at the job and people are saying this or spreading this room or if this time last year I would have got with you, but now I'm starting to just keep your mouth shut because I've noticed that God in my life, He just takes that person out, and I'm not talking about kill them or nothing, but removes them from the job or a humbling situation, a situation for them. But if I would have handled it, it would have gone another way. I'd be jobless at the unemployment office looking
Yeah.
for a job. So it's better to just keep your mouth shut.
Oh,
Um, let's see. So I'd like you to, if you could minister to the Katrina that was in that rough space, that rough patch in life, that rough patch in ministry. If you could speak to her now, what would you tell her?
ooh, that's good. Um, First I would tell her to keep the faith.
Yeah.
Um, because a lot of what is happening to you is not really you, it's who you are in the spirit that they don't like.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
Darkness doesn't like light. So when light comes in and begins to shine, it's going to irritate them.
Yeah.
So I would say keep the faith. I would say this is where you develop your prayer life.
Yeah.
Because when I couldn't go to anybody else, God was the one I could go to. So there was many nights I put the kids to bed. I'd get down inside the bed and ball my face in a pillow and scream and cry and everything while they were sleeping. Um, because that was the only time I could get it out because I never wanted them to see me look hurt.
Yeah.
So I would say keep the faith, watch your circle, guard who's around you. Um, like we were just talking the other night about how God went to the garden to pray and he asked them to watch with him for 1 hour and they couldn't even do it for 1 hour. Watch the people that can't hold your hand for an hour because something in there ain't right. If you can't stay with me for 1 hour while I cry or while I pray or whatever, but you want to do all the fun stuff, something in that's not good.
Yeah.
So guard your circle. Um, and then probably the same song I've sung for the last year. It won't always be like this. God
Oh,
will perfect that concerning me.
oh
And I
yeah.
know everybody says sooner or, I always say sooner than later because it's going to happen sooner than you think. It's going to turn in your favor because he's working it out.
Yeah.
My favorite line, probably that my pastor talks about that I say all the time, God does his best work in the dark. When I
Mm.
can't see what he's doing, he's doing his best work. Because when it comes to light, I'm like, oh, you was doing all that while I was screaming and fussing and fighting. But yeah, he does his best work because when we don't trace him, we think he forgot us. But he's
Yeah.
actually doing something bigger than what we think is coming. So yeah, I would say hold on. Even when you want to quit, it gets better.
Amen. So before we get off, because I try to keep it at an hour, but I'll be getting into it and then I'll be losing track of time. Um, so if you could minister to somebody lost right now, lost in the world, lost in their mind, lost in ministry, uh, what would be the prayer? Because I don't want to say the words, but what would be the prayer that you would pray for them right now?
I would probably say, dear God, we're asking that you just touch their mind.
Mm.
God, we're not asking that you shove them in a church service, put them in the pulpit. We're not asking, we're asking for more of you. Increase their capacity for you. Drown out the noise.
Yes.
Whatever it is that gets them to where the outside is more silent so they can hear you directly. If they're in jail, put them in a cell by themselves
Mm.
so they can hear you talk. If they're in the hospital, let the nurses leave them alone for a couple hours so they can hear you.
Yes.
Whatever the situation is, God, wherever they are, they can be in a crowded room of people and feel alone. Get so close, God, that when you breathe, they feel you on their neck
Mm.
because he's as close as the mention of his name. So
Yeah.
wherever you are, if you just call on his name, it doesn't have to be loud. It can be quiet. But I promise you, you can't touch God and him not touch you back. So God, we're asking that you touch them wherever they are. Let
Yes.
them see even a sliver of sunshine to know that things get better. And it's not just a phrase, because sometimes we just throw out, oh, God will bless you. And no, this is something I know from experience. It gets better. When you're
Yes.
down to nothing, God's still up to something. So,
Mm.
God, we've been hurt. Now what? This is where it shifts. It's where we recover. So, God
Yeah.
bless them in their recovery. Give them strength. You don't find purpose without losing people. So, if they're losing people, it just means they're finding their purpose. So, let
Mm.
them keep going forward in purpose. Keep
Mm.
going forward with pure humility. Be as humble as they know how to be, because as long as they're humble, God, you can still work it out. So we thank you in advance for exceeding the need, not just meeting it. You go above and beyond because you do greater works. And
Yes.
because greater is in us, we can do greater things. So we honor you and we thank you. And if you need help, help is available. All you got to do is reach out.
Amen. Amen to that. So I really hope that somebody watches this. I really wish we had more time, and I could make more time, but I don't want to. I don't want to be on too long. But I do. I truly do appreciate you for coming on tonight. And I'm sure there's other stuff that you didn't even touch on or was able to touch on. Um, but you know what? Matter of fact, is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here
Um, I
that you
said I'm
didn't?
gonna do it, but anyway, it's burning in my soul, so I still gotta do it.
Okay,
It
yes.
won't always
Yeah.
be like this. God will perfect that concerning you. Sooner than later, it's gonna turn in your favor. It's turning around for you, around for you, around for you, around for you. It's turning around for you. 'Cause sooner than later, it's gonna turn in your favor. It's turning around for you. 'Cause it won't always be like this. God will perfect that concerning me. 'Cause sooner than later, it's gonna turn in my favor. It's turning around for me. I don't know who you are, but I feel you in my spirit. I just need you to know it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
Amen. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that.
But
But
can I say something to you?
yes, absolutely.
I
Yes.
just want you to know, keep doing what you're doing. You are affecting a lot of people. Don't let the naysayers say what they're gonna say. God called you. It wasn't a conference call, so it don't matter what they say.
I'm
You inspire me when I get on. Sometimes I'll just click on Friday night. You always give me something to help get me through the weekend. Keep doing what you're doing. God called you for this time. Don't let nobody tell you who should be on your show, how to run your show. You listen to God, you and God do what you're supposed to do, and God's going to take you the rest of the way. Because He ain't done. He got greater.
Amen. I always get uh, sometimes it can be discouraging. I'll be real and honest, because a lot of times, and now I'm getting better with it. When you look at the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you don't see, a lot of people on that say, oh, I'm going to be on, oh, I'm going to support you, or now I'm not going to say, that they don't support me, but I'm just going to say, there's some, because I know I do have a handful of people that come on, they tune in, but they don't comment, and that's fine. I'm not looking for comments or nothing like that. But the people that say that they will and say that they support me, and then I hear a little chatter, or but I'm not going to address that. But just it can be discouraging, because you look and see, well, only 3 views or only 2 comments, or um but I'm starting to get to the point where I don't care, as long as one person is affected, as long as one person is reached, as long as one person, got the message and is going to apply it to their lives. When I first originally um, got on this was not supposed to be a church background, so to speak. It was just supposed to be just me going on here, just interviewing people in different walks of life. But God has kind of shifted me into more of a ministry aspect. like with this Women in Ministry, Women's History Month. Um, I chose this, and I prayed for who to pick, because I just don't pick people. I just don't, oh, let me pick Apostle so and so because their name is big, or I pick people, and I don't want to say you're overlooked, so don't feel like this, but I pick people that it seems that they're overlooked, or it seems like, oh, they don't, they're not standing out amongst the crowd, or because I'm sure people went, oh, why he picked Katrina, why? Mind your business. I feel that you have a story. It may be somebody on here, like the song you just sung, you might have just saved somebody's life, because you don't know. So it's good to talk to God about what all you do, and you just encouraging me. You don't know how much that's helped me. But sometimes I don't want to get on here. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, I'm going to get on, and ain't nobody going to comment, ain't nobody going to be on. But I've got to get to the point to where I don't care who gets on, if nobody gets on, because I know there's going to be that one that gets on, and somebody got saved. But I don't want to keep rambling on, because I'll go on and on. But I do thank you. I truly do. Thank you for accepting this, because you could have said no. You could have, but I thank you for coming on. I thank you for blessing us. The words that you spoke, and I thank you for blessing us with the song, because I really do love to hear you sing. I was blasting you the other day when I was cleaning, and Gabby was like, that sounds like, back when I used to go to some church she was talking about. I don't know, but I could tell that it's affecting her. I know it's reaching her. So your voice carries weight. It carries weight, and it moves in people's spirits. And I want you to know that you are blessing people. If nobody else tells you, you're blessing me. Just your words that you say when you're singing, you stop for a minute and then you minister. I can feel the shift even within me when you're shifting in ministry and in going forth in song and singing heaven down. It really blesses me. So I want you to be encouraged as well to keep singing. I know that you won't. I know that your pastor's gonna push you. He ain't gonna let you quit. So I know you're going to keep going on, but I know there's times where you're just like, but just keep ministering, because you're blessing me, and I'm sure you're blessing others. And the gift of prophetic that is on your life. Don't be afraid to step in that. um it's rough.
Yes.
Let me tell you, it's rough. People think it's a piece of cake, even though I've had times where I've just wanted to walk away from it. It ain't nothing you can walk away from.
Yes.
Anybody that's listening right now, you can't walk away from it. Even when people don't recognize you as that, you try to act like you're not that. You cannot run away from that thing. I mean, it is there. She said that I had messaged her, and it's nothing that I make up. Like, I'll hear something, and then I'll see somebody, and they call me what they call me, the Facebook prophet or whatever. I'll get into people's DMs, because you don't need to do all that. Just send a little word, and but you can't run from it. You can't run from it, Katrina. You cannot run. I know sometimes you try to second guess yourself as well, and you don't think that you're worthy of the call. You don't even think you're worthy of the title of minister.
No.
So I know you don't think you're worthy of the title prophetess. But as well as I know, you can't run from it. So it's there. But you'll begin to walk in it, because you're under a good leadership. So he will teach you, and he will maneuver you through that, pray you through. So when you officially step over into that call, um, I can't wait to see how God uses you in that aspect. You're already seeing prophetically, but just to witness you preach prophetically will be it'll be a treat. You know, it's going to bless a lot of people. But let me shift out of that because I'll just keep, you know. But I thank
I needed that, so I thank you for that.
I thank you for coming on. I really do.
Oh, I do. I thank you
Um,
for having me.
it's not going to be your last time because I've got things that's working in my head that I will, you know, inbox you at a later date. But I've got some things coming up and that I've been thinking about doing. So I will definitely keep you in mind. But I'll definitely keep you in prayer as well because I know this can be a lonely walk. Um, it can be feel like you're walking through fire. But you know, just keep on walking through. Just keep on walking through, and you'll see the reward. You'll see the reward in the end. So we thank you for coming on. I'm sorry, you guys. I see all these comments over here. I have not looked at not one. And I apologize. I've been focused on Katrina, and just I've been jotting down some things. But thank you all for coming on tonight. I see I did inbox um, your pastor, but I don't think he got my inbox. But I thank you all for coming on. I thank you all for sharing. Those that shared, just shout a few people out. Miss Nanette, I thank you for coming on. Minister Lenora, I see you on. Trish, I don't want to mess up your last name. Thank you for coming on. Let's see who else
My
is on.
pastor was on earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Overseer Fred, for coming on. Well, we'll just call you an apostle because that's what you are. Apostle Fred, I thank you for coming on. Uh, my God sister, thank you for coming on. I see a couple others, but thank you all for coming on. I appreciate you for tuning in and sharing the live. I thank you again, Minister Katrina, for coming on and blessing us through your words and through that surprise solo that you did at the end. Tried to just spring it on us like that, you know. So I thank you for that. It was a treat for me. Somebody said still here.
My pastor, he's still on.
Uh, Apostle, check your messages. And just say yes or no, and then check your inbox before we get off. But thank you all. I'm going to wait for him to reply.
Okay. If
And then,
anybody's not busy, my church is live every Saturday at
yes, shout it out,
6 p.m.
shout it out. Yeah,
Yes, a Greater Rehoboth Empowerment Temple. You can I share it on my page, Katrina Thomas on Facebook. We do have a page, Greater Rehoboth Empowerment Temple. We go by GRET. The initials are a little easier. Um, we have a page. My pastor, Bishop Fred Eugene Jones Jr., he has a page. So any of them, we go live every Saturday at 6. Come and worship with me. I would love it. We've been there. We do some services, and I might see 3, 4 people. I close my eyes, worship the God, and we keep going. Like, don't despise small beginnings. That's all I keep hearing God say. So that's what I tell myself, and we worship. And you never know. When we had one that we wasn't even planning to go viral, that just went viral, and then people started kind of tuning in. But yeah, it's the things that you don't plan, but God always gets the glory.
yes. I don't think he. Anyways, but thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, I plan on having you on again, Minister
Okay,
Katrina.
sounds
Um,
good.
but you have a great night.
You
Um,
too. Get some
I'm still
rest.
going to stay on a little longer. I got some things to announce, but I'm still blessed by that solo. You know, I love it. I love it. But you have a good night, and I thank you again.
Thank you. Bye bye.
So, tomorrow night we have Prophetess Denise Scales coming on tomorrow night, and then on on Sunday night, we have Minister Lenore Vance coming on as well. So they're both going to be 8 o'clock Saturday night, 8 o'clock Sunday night, 8 o'clock. So please tune in, please share, please, just tune in and be blessed. This was a great time to kick off the first night with Minister Katrina of Women's History Month, Women in Ministry. So I'm thankful for her coming on tonight and blessing us with words and with a song. And tomorrow we're just going to go higher and higher and higher. I expect to see you all and hope to see you all tomorrow night. Excuse me, again with Prophetess Denise Scales. Thank you all, and you all have a great night.